As runners, we all challenge ourselves in ways we never thought possible, pushing the boundaries of what we're capable of to smash through targets and set ourselves new, bigger and better ones.
This awesome hobby that we share gives us one thing in common, and it brings us together as a community. Whether you're working towards completing your first parkrun or you're a veteran of the sport who's run 100 ultra marathons, we all know the feeling of reaching that maxed out effort and our own red line.
Welcome to our podcast, where your hosts Brett Elsmore and Andy Maguire discuss the struggles, the successes and everything in between on our running journeys, as we all work towards the next time we're running the red line. Hello and welcome to episode 57 of Running the Red Line. I am your host Brett, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host Andy. How are you this week, mate?
Not actually 100%, if I'm being honest. I feel like
I've seen that.
I've just I don't know what. I think it's just all caught up with me, because I mean, it's like as soon as I've started the second half of my block now, because I'm in week 9 out of 16, and no joke, right? So on Sunday I did a long run with Sam Bauer, and I got back from the long run. It was fine. I think we did 16 miles in the end, and got back and went to bed at 3 o'clock and didn't get up till like 3 o'clock the next day. It was like, I think I had something in between a migraine, and I think I suffer from vertigo as well. So you don't have to be at the top of a bridge about to do a bungee jump to get vertigo. Vertigo is like, apparently it's something to do with your ear canals, I think.
Yeah,
and it's like
unbalancing, isn't it, inside you?
So yeah, I constantly feel like I'm on a ferry to blooming Calais. Yeah, that's how I felt like this week, and it's been gradually it's got better. But
you know what it is that caused it, don't you? Going up Timberhonger Hill.
Oh yeah, I think that was enough. Well, funnily enough, was it the night before that or the night after that? Maybe it was because I was ill. I booked the Timberhonger 10K, which is a local race.
You're going to enjoy that.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm from Bromsgrove. I've never ever run a race in Bromsgrove because there aren't any really, apart from the Timberhonger. I mean, there's one called, a lot of people always laugh at this. There's one called the Bumble Bimble. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I have. I know a couple of people who have done that.
No joke. There is a area of Bromsgrove called Bumble Hole. And there's a I think we've chatted about this. There's a company there called Bumble Hole Foods. Bumble Hole Foods. And there is the Bumble Bimble. I'm not quite sure how long it is, but that's a trail.
I don't think it's long. I think it's only about 5K.
Oh, is it only about 5? Yeah. But then there's a Timberhonger 10K, which is the other side of Bromsgrove.
Yep.
And it sort of finishes at starts and finishes at like our town park, our equivalent of Hyde Park, Sanders Park.
Is the course exactly the same this year? Because obviously last year it didn't run because the company who were running it decided to call it a day, and someone else has taken it over. But I didn't know whether the course has changed at all.
It's as far as I know, it's exactly the same. As far as I know, I think there is also a 5K option on the day. I'm not sure. Yes,
there is. Yeah,
but I think the 10K is the big one. That's what most people who have done it for years will continue to do. And they've changed it as well from a Saturday night to a Sunday morning.
Yeah, which I thought was very odd because it used to run as part of Bromsgrove Carnival. So whilst the carnival was going on and they had the fun fair and all the live music and everything, the Timberhonger 10K was going on.
Yeah.
So it finished with quite a few people in the park.
Well, whoever's taken it on has sort of said, well, that's the first thing we need to change. If I'm going to be in charge, I'll need to put it on a Sunday morning because I want to attract, more people. And I think Saturday night, you're going to get a lot less people interested than a Sunday morning, because I think it's a 9:30 start or something like that.
Yeah.
And apparently, yeah. So, well, there is. I can tell you there is, because we did this hill on last Sunday's long run. I actually didn't think it was that bad, but the faster you run, the harder a hill feels, and that to many is why the hill at Altrincham is so bad in Manchester. Because if anybody goes and runs that hill as part of their long run tomorrow, we'll be like, oh, that's nothing. Is that it? That's fine. I have worse than that on my usual Sunday runs, but because of where it is and the intensity of the speed that you're running, that's why you feel it, and that's why hills in a 10K, let alone a marathon, are horrible, because running up anything fast hurts even more.
Well, I can confirm from racing it a couple of times, the Timberhonger Hill is horrendous. I can confirm.
Oh, brilliant.
And so on the way out, you go up the one side and back down it, and then you go out into the countryside and do 2 loops of like around an area, and then turn back on yourself and come back up the other side of the Timberhonger Hill, and then down the steep downhill, and then go and finish in Sanders Park. But that second time when you come back up the hill the other way, because you've already got like 5 mile in your legs at a decent pace, going up there is hard work.
Because that hill looks to be right at the start and right at the end. It's on the out and back bit, isn't it? So it's at the start of the out and back bit. So
as you hit the bottom of the hill on the way back in, you've got about half a mile before the end of the race.
But no, I am looking forward to that, because 10Ks, I haven't really ever changed my opinion of them. I hate them. And at the time of saying this, I'm doing another one on Sunday, and I've just booked Timberhonger, and I've got 2 castles as well in early June as well. So I've only done 1 half marathon this year, and I've got no others booked. So it's got the year of the 10K, I think. But
if you want to go and see what the Timberhonger is like, have a look at my videos from a couple of years ago. I
was watching them. I was watching them on repeat, and I've watched both of them. And you even say, that was bad. But something in you makes you want to do something really hard, doesn't it? I don't know what it is.
Definitely. Yeah, that thing in you wants to test yourself and see whether you've actually got it in you.
And it's one of them that's kind of like local legendary status, isn't it? The Timberhonger. Ask anyone from Bromsgrove, they know what Timberhonger Lane's like. It's a slog, and it's like it makes you a local part of the folklore, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you do one of your local races that's got a bit of a reputation, so it makes you just want to do it even more. But so I'm looking forward to that. But I think you're right. I think that the vertigo was caused by being on the top of that hill. But I will probably be feeling that again on the 31st of August, 2025.
Yeah.
But since then I've been gradually getting better every day, and I've been out for a couple of runs. But I very early in the week turned it into a recovery week, because I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not quite in the peak yet, but this was like the end of my sort of build phase, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And last week I did a really good week of training. I did hit 100K for the first time for a long time. And this week I wanted to do, 5K more than that, maybe even 5 miles more. But I just went to bed Sunday night and I thought, here we go again. Because I get this weird dizziness like every, 9 months or 12 months. Last time I got it, we were about to do that podcast the week before Worcester half.
Yeah.
And it's like, all of a sudden, it's like, my mum said, you need your eyes tested. And I was like, well, I don't get regular headaches, and I don't get like sensitivity to light or anything very often. So I think my eyesight's okay. Bearing in mind, everyone else in my family has or has had glasses. So maybe it is leaning towards that. But if anybody knows anything about vertigo or migraines, please let me know, because I was sick, like Chester Marathon style, after a few hours of just sitting in bed, lying down. You know, it's one of them when when you're really drunk and the room is spinning, whether you open your eyes or close your eyes.
Do you think it was a bit of sunstroke / dehydration as well? Because it was like the first proper sunny day of the year, wasn't it?
It's possible. It is possible because it was very vitamin D themed last Sunday for the run because it was quite warm.
The being sick sounds very dehydration, sunstroke sort of thing, doesn't it?
And so it could be just my first kind of exposure to sunshine for a long time, and that's how my body deals with it. But fortunately, I didn't get that when I went to Valencia.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've not been feeling great this week. But what I've decided to do is just like I didn't go to club Tuesday night or Thursday night. What I did, I went and did a run up the hills Tuesday, Thursday. I did a local 10K, and then today. I'll tell you how I knew I made the right decision. Because Merv was asking me, are you coming to club? Coming to track night, Thursday night? I was like, I don't know, maybe. I went and cut the grass and I bonked whilst cutting the grass. So I was like, Merv, I can't come to track, mate. It's 4:30 and I've bonked cutting the grass. I need a water station. I needed a gel. And so I just thought I can't do track because I'll absolutely I'll just be sick on someone, or I'll just never be asked to come back again, or so I just thought no, I can't do it, and I'm glad I didn't. And then today I thought, right, because the mileage is low, I'm going to try and compensate. So I went to do a half marathon, got 10 miles in, I had to call Laura to come and get me because I literally couldn't run. I was like, you just think I've got to call this because it's only 5K, and that 5K that I'm going to do to get home is just going to make me feel terrible. So rang Laura, she came and got me, and then we went to Co-op on the way home.
That's exactly was going to be my next question, was if Laura came to get you, what pastries did you buy afterwards?
We didn't actually get pastries. We went and we did get a French stick though. We did go to Co-op and because I do like their baguettes. So we got a French stick and we got some bacon, and we just had bacon baguettes.
Please tell me you had half of the French stick as your bacon baguette.
Yeah, I did literally.
Yes, half. Good lad.
No, I had a third. Laura had like half, not quite a third, and then I went back for seconds. So I didn't have the whole baguette with bacon in it. Mm-hmm. But I did. It's all gone. Put it that way now.
Good.
It was all gone by lunchtime. Yeah. And I also had. I tell you what, I really was craving a Lucozade. I haven't got the bottle.
Original orange one.
Yeah, so not the fizzy stuff. Yeah, and it was just
like Lucozade Sport.
Yeah, like the electrolyte one. And I was just like, I drank it. I was like, man, this stuff is like nectar. It was just so good. And sometimes that hit of something you really crave is just what you want, and that's underrated. That stuff.
Yeah, it's quite full of carbs. It's full of carbs. Lucozade Sport. That's basically a carb mix drink. So do you know how like people buy the powder and mix their own drink? Lucozade is a ready-made one. So that's why that's because the Lucozade is a London Marathon sponsor. So that's why there's always Lucozade Sport at all of the like energy fuel stops.
I don't think it's necessarily a good daily drink because I was reading some of the ingredients and they were like xanthan gum. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. That's basic. Xanthan gum is basically a gelling agent to bulk up things. So they put it in a lot of all protein powders got xanthan gum in it. Like like protein ice creams and things like that, low calorie ice creams, that's got xanthan gum because when you blend it up, it expands, so it makes it look like you've got more volume than you actually have.
Okay, right. Well, but I mean, it's good stuff, and that's all I was craving. She's like, "Sure, you don't want a Coke or something else like a chocolate bar?" I was like, "No, that's all I really want." And And but yeah, so yeah, bonked doing the grass, doing that yesterday. That wasn't exactly my finest hour. Had to have a sit down. I was sweating because yesterday, Thursday, I think Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for the majority of us in this country, it's been the hot ones. I say hot, you know what I mean? It was about 17 degrees, which is basically hot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I got a proper dab on doing the grass. I was really, really, really cooking out there. So, but yeah, because I thought, right, because of my bad, like my dizziness and stuff, I'll go outside and I'll get away from screens because that's one thing I'm struggling with. Yeah, sorry to disappoint anyone, by the way. We're going to do a slightly reduced in time podcast today so I can not be sick at parkrun tomorrow. But which could happen either way. But yeah, I thought, yeah, I'll go and do the grass because that will get me outside. And then, yeah, bang. Hit the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
During the grass. So, yeah, that you asked me 15 minutes ago, but I bet you're wishing you hadn't. How are you doing? That's how I'm doing. How are you doing?
All right. A bit more positive this week, to be honest, which is good. Yeah, I'm actually in a slightly good mood, which is a change from the last few weeks because I've not been very happy.
In a terrible mood.
Yeah. So yeah, I've actually spoiler alert for training weeks, but I've actually been for 2 runs this week already, and we're only on Friday.
Wow. Unbelievable. That's amazing.
So,
did a part of you worry that you weren't going to run again until like the week before London?
Yes.
Or London Marathon will be your next run?
Yeah, basically, yeah. But no, it's interesting. I'll tell you all about it in a bit. But
yeah.
I'm all right. A bit sore today after yesterday because had a big day yesterday, but tried a few new things for my S&C, and I've pulled up a bit sore from it, but that's good because it shows it's actually working, which is good. I'm using muscles. Well, not muscles I haven't used before, but I'm using them in a different way to make sure they're working, which is good.
Yeah.
So,
and finally happy to just be off the bike or off the cross trainer.
I'm still using them all, but obviously, I don't have to do as much if I can run, which is nice.
Yeah.
So yeah. But far from fixed. Still pain when running, but not as much pain as I have been in. So hopefully it's on the right track and we're on the road to recovery. Fingers crossed. Touch wood. But yeah. So shall we get into things?
Just before you carry on, there is something on your Strava that I would love to address. It sounds dodgy. Maybe it is dodgy. I don't know. But you wrote, I don't know what that man did with his magic fingers, but he did something. Yes, I know that sounds wrong. So we'll get into that later on. So think on that. If you don't follow Brett on Strava, you've probably formed an opinion of him by now. So Brett and someone's magic fingers is the topic of his Thursday. But anyway, sorry, what were you going to move on to?
I was going to say, as we want to try and keep it a bit shorter, we should get straight into like news and stuff so we can then get into emails and comments before we get into our training and stuff. So first thing I saw this week that I would like to mention is there is a young lad from New Zealand who, thank you, no scratching that, you've got plenty of scratching posts. Sorry. There is a young lad from New Zealand who is 15 years old called Sam Ruthe, and he trains with another guy called Sam Tanner, who is a lot older than him, but he's still not old. He's still quite young. But they're both from the same training group. And on Wednesday this week, Sam Tanner helped pace Sam Ruthe to break 4 minutes in the mile and become the youngest person ever to break 4 minutes in a mile.
I've just found him.
He ran 3:58.35 for the mile at 15 years old.
3:58.35.
It's crazy.
That's mega.
But
yeah, I got him. There he is.
Yeah, there he is. But he's not that's not his only record, because he also holds the 15-year-old record for 1,500 meters, and this is a world record for 15-year-old. He took it from Jakob, who had it, and he ran a 3:41.2 for the 1,500 meters.
Yeah.
And he also holds the 15-year-old 3,000 meters world record at 7:56.1. So he's gone under 8 minutes for the 3,000 meters. And this is all at 15 years old. And he is 15 years, 11 months and 6 days old. But one thing which I've found brilliant about these two, so obviously, as I said, Sam Ruthe and Sam Tanner, they're from the same training group. They train with each other all the time, and they're both from New Zealand. They went to the New Zealand champs, and they both raced the 1,500 meters, and they ended up, both of them, getting a gold medal because they crossed the line in exactly the same time. And even from the photo finish, the officials couldn't decide who was the winner. So they both got gold, and they crossed the line both at exactly 3:44.31. And if you have a look at I think I've got it saved. So that was them crossing the line at exactly the same time. And this was the photo finish.
One looks further ahead, or is it just the picture?
Yeah, it's just the angle, but
yeah, that's
so
pretty...
they both
look at the shadows.
I know. So they both got a gold medal because they both got exactly the same time, which is awesome. I thought that was great. But then a week or so later, Sam Tanner helped pace him to a 3:58 mile, which is crazy.
Is Sam Tanner the guy with the ponytail?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see him in his video. Yeah. That's epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty
I
big.
just thought I'd mention that because that's crazy. 15 years old and breaking 4 minutes for a mile.
Come on. What's your fastest mile? Have you ever done a mile time trial?
I've never done a mile time trial. No, I'd like to think I could get close to 5 minutes.
It's probably at the end of your Telford 10K, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But I'd like to think I could get close to 5 minutes in an all-out mile, but I don't.
5 minute. Well, I was going to say that's 5 minutes a mile pace, isn't it? But I wonder what that is. Is that under 3 minutes a K?
No, I don't think it's under 3 minutes K. No,
that's
because it's 16. It's 1,609 meters in it.
So would that be around about a 15.5 minute, 15:20 park run, something like that? That's that sort of pace.
Well, it's 5 minutes a mile. So
plus 0.1.
Yeah, about 15 and 15. Yeah, about 15, 10, 15, 20.
Plus whatever 5K. You can do that.
That's if you do that for that whole 3 miles, but that would be me all out, absolutely going for it for 1 mile.
Blasting it. The 0.1 of a 5K is about 200, isn't it? So you do your 3 miles and it's a last pretty much 200, isn't it?
Yeah.
Half a mile is 800 meters.
Yeah. So 0.25 with a mile is 400.
Yeah. So 0.125 would be 200. So it's okay. Well, that would be good to. Well, when you finally gotten over this injury, it'd be good to see you on. Would you do it on the track, or would it be unfair to do it on anything but a track, or?
Well, I don't know, but you'd want to do it on a track, wouldn't you? To make sure that
The distance.
Number one, the distance, and number two, the timing was perfect.
Yeah.
So I'd like to do a proper like a mile race. So like they do the 1500, do a mile. But yeah, I'm just having a quick look at what pace that would be. So a 5-minute mile for you in Ks, we work out 3:07 a K.
3:07, yeah, that's ridiculous. I couldn't even dream of that for a mile. I mean, that's quick.
Because I've run what's called, haven't I? I've run 5:19 a mile for 3K, which is just under 2 mile, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's 3:17 a K. 3:18 a K.
Yeah.
So it would be, like just over half of that, trying to go it a little bit faster. So
was that just after Bushy, when we did Bushy Parkrun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I did 9:57, didn't I? So that's
would you say that's
5:19 a mile.
Would you say that was the peak of your speediness
last year?
In your running career so far, sort of thing?
Yeah,
have you ever felt faster than that?
Not really, no.
Yeah, but I remember you got an injury quite quickly after that, didn't you? It was Worcester, wasn't it? Worcester half. Was it Worcester half? I'm sure there was a reason in September. Well, do you remember when you paced me for October, the Kingfisher 10K?
Yeah. I was coming back from an injury. Yeah, my calf.
So you must have soon after track season.
Yeah, which is the same leg, so same calf as this time. So I don't know whether my calf injury at the end of last year is the same as what I've got now, but I thought it was my calf, and it's not actually my calf. So I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Right. Oh, that's frustrating.
But there we go. Anyway, so that was the first bit of news. Sam Ruthe breaking 4 minutes. Next up on my list is Kipchoge is going to Sydney for the marathon.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
Pretty cool. So the first time Sydney becomes a major, they've got a very high-profile person going there to run it, and
that's awesome.
Everybody keeps on writing Kipchoge off and saying, well, when was the last time he had a good race? Because obviously he dropped out of the Olympic marathon, and then his last marathon before that was Tokyo, where he had a very bad day, and was left by the front pack, and he still finished, but not in the time he wanted. And everybody keeps on writing him off and saying that he's done and his best days are over. I would love it so much if Kipchoge this year has just put in all the training he needed to and comes to London and Sydney and smashes it. It would be so good. I'd love it.
I don't. You can't write him off. Write Elliot off at your peril. But it'd be great if, realistically, going off the last few marathons, you'd be like top 10 would be, a good result for him. Yeah. But if proper Elliot turns up, it'll just blow everyone out of the water.
But I know that Kipchoge, now being 40, will want that 40-year-old world record, which Kayleigh's got. And Kayleigh's going to be at London. Yeah, it's about 2:03. And Kayleigh got it last year at London and came second. So, and he wasn't far off coming first. It was a sprint finish to the end. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kipchoge is putting everything into this to try and get that over 40s world record.
Yeah. No, because I've just remembered as well, was it Boston as well, where he had a bad race?
Yes. Yeah.
Did he race Boston and Tokyo in the same season?
Yeah, I think he did, yeah.
Yeah. No, Boston was the year before.
Yes, it was, yeah. Boston was the year before, yeah. But
so yeah, fingers crossed. This is the one where he can have a good solid race, because everyone loves a bit of Elliot, don't they? Everyone loves Elliot. Come on, he's just the nicest bloke as well.
Yeah. Well, at Paris at the Olympics, we didn't get the Kipchoge versus Kayleigh that we all wanted. So are we going to get it at London?
Yeah.
So fingers crossed.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? Yeah. Be interested to see what he's wearing as well. Will he go for the beloved Alpha Fly 2s?
Most likely. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for them.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Then next up on my list, just one very quick one. So I don't know if you remember a while back I said about Tinman Elite and how it was a bit weird that Drew Hunter had gone to ASICS, but Tinman Elite are an Adidas sponsored team, and how that would all work. And then they didn't renew Sam Parsons' contract as well. So the only one of the original three from Tinman Elite that is still sponsored by Adidas is Reed Fisher. And then this week, people had worked out already, but I think it's today that they actually officially announced that Sam Parsons has signed for Tracksmith, which is a interesting choice of all.
They've just released the super shoe, haven't they?
They have. They've just released the Elliott Racer, which apparently works really well. But personally, I think the design team need to go back to the drawing board and make it look nice.
It's not very inspiring, is it?
It's horrendous.
It's a bit.
Yeah. But the way their super shoe works is interesting, because it's got the carbon plate and the foam midsole on the shoe, but the insole that you put in is the rest of your stack height. So it's actually not all underneath the shoe. Part of your super foam is the insole that you put in.
Right. Interesting.
So I guess you can change out for different thicknesses or different softness or whatever.
I've read about that people take their insoles with them across different shoes, and I don't know if that's if there's anything in that for me or not, but interesting to try.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting choice from Sam Parsons to go from Adidas to Tracksmith, but it says that he's signed as an athlete and creative partner. So not just as an athlete, he's there as a designer as well. And I know that when he was he still is in Tinman Elite, but when he joined Tinman Elite or started it with the others, with Adidas, he was working closely with Adidas, within Adidas's department, and then all of their designs and things that they've brought out of Adidas Tinman Elite merch, Sam Parsons has been very involved in the design of it and the whole collection and putting it all together and stuff. So I guess he's going to be doing the same sort of thing for Tracksmith, which is interesting. And it looks like as well, one of the other Tinman guys, Joey Berriatua, or Joey Bags as they call him, he looks like he's signing for Under Armour as well. So they're going to be all over the place. So what actually is going to happen with Tinman Elite and their Adidas sponsorship, I do not know. So be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if they'll just lose the sponsorship but keep the team. I don't know. Do they need the backing of a team?
Well, it's
Adidas.
It's Adidas that basically pays for Tinman Elite to run,
to be pro athletes, basically. Yeah.
And for the coaches, because the coaches, which is actually Drew Hunter's mom and dad, they wouldn't have a wage without the sponsorship of the team.
Yeah. I wonder if they're thinking of becoming like Top Gear and just sacking all the presenters but keeping the brand, so they bring new faces in.
Drew Hunter had an interview with a magazine and he said that there was no definite decision, but at the moment, Tinman Elite was still running with the parents, and they were in talks with Adidas to keep Adidas as the sponsor for Tinman Elite. But part of that agreement with him signing for ASICS would be that he couldn't be in any of the Tinman Elite videos or social media or advertising or anything. So he could still train with them, being an ASICS athlete. So his mom could still be his coach, but he couldn't be in any of the videos or any of the posts that they put up of Tinman Elite.
Right.
So yeah, it's all a bit of an interesting moment in that team, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, there we go.
Well, I thought of I've literally just thought of a feature we can do every week now. I literally have just thought of it, and it's called Shoes News, and it's based on people that have just bought shoes, and you can write to us and tell us how you found these shoes. So today's Shoes News is from Kieran Turner, and Kieran bought some Puma Magmax, which are like a max stack comfort shoe. I'm just going to try and find out. He's just sent me pictures of him wearing them at work on it with his feet up on his desk, wearing his new shoes, wearing them, not even running or walking in them. I'm just seeing how.
So are they
the
ones that are on a par with like the Brooks Ghost Max and the what's the New Balance one? I can't
is it one of those 1080?
No, the 1080s are their daily, like their easy run daily shoe, but they've got a higher stack one. I can't remember what it's called. I'm gonna have a look.
Yeah. Well, while you're looking at that, I've just said, what do you think? A quick review of the Magmax. He's put, the jury's still out. They felt heavy to start with, but then I forgot about them 3K in. Not super soft, like you would think. Firm, but comfy. Going to try 28K in them on Sunday. And they roll through the gate quite nicely. So cheers, Kieran. You were the first in probably a one-time only feature. I'll probably forget about it next week. But that was today's Shoes News.
The New Balance ones are called the Fresh Foam X More.
Okay, right.
They've got more midsole, so they're called the More.
Right. Yeah. I wonder where they got that name from. But that's funny actually, because mentioning Puma, I am feeling quite influenced by the community at the moment, who seem to be talking a lot about the DV8 Nitro Elite 3. They look like a really good shoe.
Yeah.
There's a few people that have got that.
Yeah. I know Andy Rayner loves them, doesn't he?
And Mom's got a pair.
Oh, yes. And I will say, what's his name? Ben Felton, Benny's Running, did a test of marathon shoes.
Yeah,
and
I saw that.
Did the Adios Pro 4, the Metaspeed Sky Paris, and the DV8 Nitro Elite 3. And the DV8 Nitro Elite 3s were his favourite and came out best in the testing.
I think if you're a, I mean, I wouldn't like to say the word quick, because quick's relative to everyone, but if you're a consistent hard runner through a marathon, I think the Metaspeed Skies, from what I've heard, will treat you well if you don't need a comfy ride. Because what I've heard, this is purely on what I've heard, but they're not the most comfy shoe. The Metaspeed Sky Paris, I think that's true. Because I know one of our keen listeners, Tommy D, is a big ASICS fan. Yeah. And I think he's run some marathons in that shoe. And I wonder if he's planning to wear them for Boston. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I've heard. So perhaps someone correct me if I'm wrong about that. But yeah, for me, Because don't get me wrong. If money was no object, I'd have them all. I'd be like Ben Felton and have them all. But I'd be obviously I would pay for them to see. But I would like to choose wisely for my next pair of super shoes, and I'm leaning towards them Elite Nitro Elite 3s, because just willing to try them over the Adios Pro 4s for no other reason than I want to try something new. So
yeah. But they look decent and they sound decent. So go for it. You mentioning Asics as well and Tommy D. Just quickly, wanted to give a shout out to Mike Rodders.
His coach. Yes.
His coach, who did his first race back after his injury. So he's been out for, what has he been out for 4 months, is it?
Yeah.
Where he's had quite a bad injury. First race back, wins it.
Wow.
So, he ran the Great Welsh Marathon inaugural 10K. So the first ever time it had been run, and he won it in 35:29.
That's amazing.
So, awesome work.
Yeah, that really is amazing. He's probably thinking, probably like you, thank God I can run again. And because I imagine 4 months probably feels like a lifetime. Because he ran, I'm pretty sure, up until his injury. I think he went through a period of running every day, I think for about 8 months or something. So, and there's something in that. I mean, not necessarily running every day, but high mileage very often yields results, doesn't it?
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
I think if you look at a lot of the big runners, well, even me, like people who want, like, I'm going for what I think is quite an ambitious time. I'm going for a 3:20, and I know that I need to run more if I want to run well, if you know what I mean. I don't want to just play it safe and just run, you know.
Well, did you see? I'm going to have to find it now, aren't I? Was it the new what marathon was it in America recently?
There was one. Was it Austin?
Was it Austin? What marathon was it? But the guy who won it, he was the first American for years to win it. Here he is, Matthew Richtman, and he's the LA Marathon, Los Angeles Marathon.
Right.
And he's the first American to win it for years. And he won it in 2:07:56, which, wouldn't possibly win one of the majors because they're a good few minutes ahead. But for an American, that's really quick. He's broke 2:08.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And it's like nobody's really heard of him before. And he basically said all of his training, he only did 2 sessions a week, and everything else was easy running. And it was just building up the mileage and just getting a load of mileage in his legs has allowed him to then run that fast.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I think there's definitely something in, and that's why I'm proud of myself for getting these easy runs in this week, and just getting out there. I mean, yes, arguably I could have been better if I was recovering, but sometimes, you know, just moving your body is as good as the rest. Sometimes, I mean, I'm not saying that's helped me or not, but I just feel like I get back from a run, I thought, yeah, good, right, I can do the rest of my day now, and I do quite like that feeling of getting the miles in each week. Yeah.
I've just seen as well. He was the first American to win the LA Marathon since 1994.
Oh right, okay.
31 years ago.
That's quite a feat.
It is, isn't it?
Well, what I wanted to mention as well, because we've got a couple of things to mention as well. We wanted to just go through the Podium 5K.
Yes.
Which was last Saturday, I think.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Can anybody enter that race? All right, Misa.
Hello.
There she is. Was it Misa's birthday the other day?
It was her 7th birthday.
7 years young.
I know. Bless her. But yes, I think it was last Saturday, I think. It is open to anyone, but only if you can run under a certain time.
Only if you can run under 15 minutes.
Yeah, basically. But to get into the elite race, you have to be elite. Yeah. But then they have other races, but you get graded on your PB time.
Yeah.
And if you're over a certain time, then you can't enter because you'll be too slow for it. So like Harry and Ryan, who we know entered it, they still ran mega quick. They were in wave G, so race G.
God. So race A would have been the elites.
The elite race, yeah.
And would that have gone off last or first?
Yeah, that goes off last race.
Yeah,
the elites, yeah.
Wow, that puts things into perspective. Because whilst we're talking about them, so Ryan and Harry, you might have seen them on both of our YouTube channels. You probably subscribed to Ryan's channel, Rayleigh Adventures. Ryan and Haley's channel, I should say. They both are Kenilworth runners and ran last week. And Ryan ran a blistering 16:05, and Harry was just a couple of seconds behind in 16:18, and ran PBs on the day. So crazy fast.
Absolutely smashed it in the middle of marathon training as well, because Ryan's training for London and Harry's training for Edinburgh.
You want to see what these boys are running each week. They really are. And not only are they just putting I'm not saying they're putting easy miles in, but not only are they running easy miles, they're running really hard miles as well. They're running some big sessions on Sundays. Yeah. And after this, they did a 37K run the day after at like marathon pace, or, I don't know, they did 10K blocks, I think. So really good running from you two boys.
Yeah, amazing work. Well done, boys. But yeah, for the elites, the top 3 ladies in the elite ladies race, it was won by Katie Snowden in 15:20. Second was Verity Ockenden in 15:22, so only 2 seconds behind. And then I know why you're smiling. Yeah. Third was Georgie, and I'm going to go with Gergek. I don't know if that's right, but she ran 15:25. But her surname is spelled Grgec. So I'm going with Gergek, but I don't know whether it's Gergek.
Gergec? Gergec. Gergec, I like that.
Yeah. But anyway, those were the top 3 ladies. So blistering paces there. And then top 3 men in the men's elite race. It was won by Daniel Cameo in 13:27. Will Barnacote, who is a British guy, he always pulls. Well, whenever he races well. He, I think he's won the under 20s European cross country 3 times. I think he's great. But he was second in 13:30, so 3 seconds behind. And then Aaron Gebrimariam came in third in 13:32.
That was tight then. Up front.
Yeah, so really tight. And then also wanted to mention in 7th was Callum Elson in 13:36, and he ran a big PB. He was well happy about it, and it's real good to see him back running well after his horrible injury he had in the World Indoors last year when he got spiked and his Achilles tore. So to know he's back and like pretty much at full pelt again is really good to see. So
it must be. I'm not saying that these guys go to parkrun every week, so they probably don't. But I wonder what it's like being that far. I mean, Ryan will probably know how this feels. You probably know how this feels. But like when you're running 16, 17 minutes for a 5K, let's say you go to parkrun every week, very often you'll find yourself running alone, I would have thought, for a big chunk of that 5K. I wonder how it feels running 16, 17 minutes with people all around you. Like, that must feel quite strange, and you're not used to that. So I wonder if that really, really helps you just push you along.
Yeah, that's why I entered the Mid Cheshire 5K, because I wanted to go and try and break 17 minutes. And I knew that it was a race that lots of people went to around that sort of pace to try and run fast. So there was going to be a group. But it got moved at the end of last year, and I couldn't make the new date. So I deferred my entry until May this year. But now I don't know whether I'm going to be able to do it again this year, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But they do say, if you want to run fast in a 5K, go and do it in a race, not at parkrun. Because parkrun, you'll get a few people running around that pace. But if you go to a race, people are there to race, and they're entering to go and run fast. So
yeah.
But so that was the Podium 5K festival.
It looked quite good with all the it looked at all the flames and all the entertainment. I think there was a beer tent at one point, wasn't there? And
and all of because it was run by Sports Shoes, all of the brands had separate tents all round, like selling stuff, and it looked like a really good day.
Did look like a good event. Yeah.
Cool. And then the final thing I've got on my list is the Barkley Marathons, which you were talking about.
Yeah, so this year was very different to last year. And I didn't realise this, but the course changes every year. So Laz goes, and I don't know if he literally goes and puts the books in the trees or wherever he puts them, because you have to bring back you have to rip out a page that corresponds with the bib number that you get.
Yeah.
And I also think that changes every lap. Every loop you do. I think Laz gives you a new number. So I don't think you could...
I don't think... Is it the same book every time?
Yeah, I think it's because their loops aren't... Well, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Because...
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah. Because you just go in the reverse opposite direction, don't you?
Well, yeah, you'd have to, wouldn't you? Because otherwise you'd get 15 pages of the same book, which you couldn't do. So you'd have to be given a new number every time. But the course changed this year, and apparently it was 10% hillier, and there are a few factors that made it harder. Now, just for context, if anybody doesn't know, you probably know this better than I do. The killer of Martin Luther King, was that right? Escaped from a local prison, I think, into these lands, into this state park, which is where there was a prison nearby, or maybe there still is. And the police were chasing him for, I think, 60 hours. Is that right?
Something like that, yeah.
Is it 50 hours, 60 hours? And apparently he had run a grand total, I could be wrong about this, of 10 miles or 20 miles. That's how much progress he'd made in that time. And apparently, I don't know if it was a gentleman's sort of agreement or a bet in a pub or something, but didn't Lazarus say, I could do 100 miles in that time, or I could do... Yeah. So every year from the 80s, 86 or 88 or something like that, there's a race, and it's by invitation only, or it's literally a carefully selected group of people.
You have to send an application, and there's a certain thing that you have to send with the application. And I think the entry fee is something like 5 cents or something like that you have to send in with your application. And he picks a few entries basically each year.
Yeah, it is bonkers. And I even read as well that there are normally 40 places, and of that 40, one is chosen by Laz as what he quotes as a human sacrifice, and has no business being here. That's what apparently is part of the race. So he would choose someone like me to come and do it, because apparently that race is like climbing Mount Everest twice, from sea to summit. Twice. The elevation is something like 20,000 meters. It's about 60,000 foot. I think that's what it is. And there are loops. So what you have to do is 5 loops. If you successfully complete 5 loops within 60 hours, I think it must be I don't know what the cutoff time is. Then you don't win. Nobody wins.
No.
You just have the bragging rights of saying that you completed. And someone that's done this for the last 3 years, I think, or has gone down in history as the person that's completed it the most, is called John Kelly. And this year he got the furthest and only completed 3 loops out of 5. And I'll just quickly read what he's written. He's put that 3 loop fun run, because apparently if you do 3 loops and tap out, it's called a fun run, hurt more than my last 2 5 loop finishes. Yes, the course was harder, about 10% more vert, bringing it to 15,000 feet per loop. The weather was tougher too. 77 Fahrenheit or 25 degrees Celsius is very toasty for Barkley. Also, I made a lot of mistakes. It's actually pretty intriguing being back to something I'm not sure I'm capable of doing, but the best measure of difficulty isn't whether I or anyone else can finish. The race is meant to have goals that are out of reach, but may be possible for the full spectrum of participants. When only 10 people finished loop 1 and 4 finished 2, then yeah, maybe it was a bit difficult. The course and the runners will continue to recalibrate, and the weather will continue being unpredictable. This is what I like, right? He said this at the end. Rigid pre-race goals are great for motivation and prep, but for post-race evaluation, they often fail to account for the actual circumstances. After each of my events, I now distill my satisfaction down to 2 seemingly simple questions. Did I do my best? And was it or would it have been worth it? The answer to both questions should be the same. They were both yes. Possibly the greatest thing ultra running has given me is simply the ability to honestly answer both of these questions. It requires knowing what my best is and what my best takes. Far too often people have no idea what they're capable of and think I gave it my all, when it really was just I experienced mild discomfort. What our best is isn't nearly as important as simply being able to actually give it and having something in life that's worth it. What amazing words. I think that's quite imagine being able to dig that deep, though, going way beyond your limit and then some.
Well, you've just got to look at how Jasmine Paris finished it last year. Like, she could barely move after she crossed the line. Her body just gave up. That's what she went through. So yeah, mad.
But a fascinating race. And apparently, to keep the media away, there is no start time or there is no start date. You can never know. Only the participants will know nearer the time, who probably fly in from all over the world, obviously when it's going to be, but they're sworn to secrecy, never to tell anyone. And they do it. And he does it. Lazarus does it to protect the runners and protect the integrity of the race, which I absolutely love. And on the given day of the start of the race, I think it can start between, is it 12 midnight and 12 noon?
Yeah, something like that.
Any time. And it's signified by the blowing of a conch. and that is your 1 hour timer to know that the race is about to start. And apparently this year it got blown, the latest ever got blown at like 10 to 12 midday or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Well, I could be wrong about that, but I think it was late morning. And the lighting of a cigarette, I think, means you're off.
Yeah, you're off.
I watched a documentary about him counting down the runners from 30 seconds. And one thing he said to everybody, because it's like a weird silence. It's not like an adrenaline, testosterone-filled corral full of singlet-wearing runners. It's literally a group of people that are like almost silent. They're hanging off every word of Laz. And he just says, make peace with your God. And I just thought, wow. And then he lights a cigarette and they're away. And it's madness, absolute madness. So that's a pretty cool race.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ace. Right, I think that is about everything I've got written down. I don't know whether you've got anything else that you wanted to talk about.
No, I think that's the lot.
Wicked. Right. So, what should we do? Should we go through training quickly and then see if we've got in time for comments and emails afterwards?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yep.
So, do you want to go through your training first this week?
Yeah.
Swap it up a little bit.
Yeah, mine isn't. There isn't a lot of it because Monday I woke up and that's normally my 10 or 12K recovery day. And I just thought, I ain't doing that today. I literally can't. So I had Monday off and I was even considering having Tuesday off. But then stubbornly and stupidly, I thought, no, I'm going to go and run. So what I did was I compromised and did a nice sort of straightforward, easy run around the river. Oh, no, hang on. I need to start a few days before this, don't I?
You got to start Saturday.
Yeah, parkrun. Went to parkrun Saturday. So I went to the Wire Forest, which is over in Bewdley. And it's one of my favourites. It's just such a beautiful... It's a bit like Mallard's Pike, but Mallard's Pike just takes something. I don't know why I prefer it, but just by a little bit. But the Wire Forest is very, very similar. And Daisy got the W. She won. She absolutely... Like the last time we did it, she broke the heart of a dog. Probably 800 metres to go. As a golden retriever, and the dog, the golden retriever, I knew we were going to take the W because the golden retriever was doing that cardinal sin that you should never do. It kept looking behind. So Daisy smelt blood. She knew the W was on. This poor golden retriever had made its owner stop to like play with Daisy, and we're like, "See ya!" So we cracked on up the hill, and we took the dub. Sunday went for my long run with Sam. So went with Sam Bauer, went up to his house, and then we did 8 miles into Bromsgrove via Timberhonger Lane, and then 8 miles back. And what we did was 3 by 3 miles at marathon pace, which is Sam's marathon pace is basically 8-minute miling, which I didn't say, which is slightly, mine is ever so slightly quicker, but I was really happy we went with Sam's marathon pace because I was struggling a bit on the day, which is probably the first telltale sign that I was getting a bit poorly. Tuesday I did that run round the river in Worcester, which has got no elevation at all. Did it really nice and chilled. And I was just glad to be out the house, to be honest. That was 10K. Then Thursday, went up the hills with Daisy, did 10K up the hills. Again, super slow and steady, walked some of the hills. Gap pace was about 5:50 a K, so 9.5-minute miling, 6 minute per K, something like that. So the effort was really nice and easy. And then today was the aborted half marathon. I only did 16.48 K, which is just over 10 miles. And I met Kieran Deegan on the run, who lives just around the corner. And I was literally sat down on a wall. And he was like, "Right, mate, what are you doing here?" And he was just about to go on his run, and we were both basically just slagging off marathon training for the entire time it took for Laura to come and get me. Because, we were both saying, he was saying, I feel exactly the same. He was about to go off on a 10K, been putting it off all day, but he's like, "No, I've got to force myself to get out." And, so we had a chat about shoes and all that sort of stuff. He was wearing his Primexes, so we were having a good old chinwag about that. So that brings me up to here and now. So this week I've only done about 35K so far, which to some may sound a lot, but to me, I'm normally at like 60 by now. So it's quite a decrease, but I'll take the rest.
Yeah. Good. So if I go on to my training week, as I said, I've had a bit of a better week this week.
Yeah.
On the Saturday, I went out for a run, but I didn't go down to parkrun because in the day I actually went on my nephew's stag do. So we went to a shooting range over in where was it?
Oh God, yeah, I never asked you about the stag do.
Yeah, was it Warsaw or somewhere like that? I can't remember exactly where it is. But we went over to a shooting range, and I was expecting when they said we're going to book a shooting range to have like, I don't know, clay pigeon shooting or something like that. But this was with like proper full-on rifles and stuff, with like proper bullets and everything. And I was like, okay, this is a bit strange. So like army issued guns and all sorts. And there was a selection of guns at all of the stands. And basically they gave you little tokens, and you went and stood next to the gun you wanted to shoot. They came over, you gave them a token, they loaded up your gun with a mag of 20 bullets, and then you had the 20 bullets, and then you could walk to another gun to try another one out, and they'd come and load it up, and you basically had 5 different guns that you could work with. But yeah, it was interesting. It was quite good. But actually, I've got behind me
an AK-47.
No, our target. But the first gun I went on was that target. Check that out.
Wow.
So all 20 bullets.
Bottom left, straight through the bullseye.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Other ones, not as tidy, but yeah, all right.
Like a young Liam Neeson. I have a particular set of skills.
But yeah, so after that, when I got back in the evening, I thought, right, I'm going to try and check and see if my leg's any better. And it wasn't. It felt awful throughout the whole run.
Yeah.
Managed to get 10K in, but at like an easy pace, but it just felt absolutely terrible throughout the whole run. But never mind. I shouldn't have run that far, but I'd gone out on a loop, and I was like, I'm not stopping now. I'm not turning around and going back. I'm just going to carry on. But yeah, got 10K in. So when I got home, I thought, because I haven't managed to get that much in, I jumped on the bike and went and rode 30 mile on the bike, which was really good. No issues at all throughout the whole of the ride. So no problems like last Sunday with a puncture or anything like that. Perfectly fine. And then I got back to my house, rolled down the drive, and didn't unclip my foot properly from a pedal.
Oh, God. So if anyone was leaning out the window watching you.
Well, I rolled down the drive. I unclipped my left foot like I normally do. And what I normally do is unclip my left foot and lean over to the left and put my left foot down. And then I unclip my right foot. As I rolled down the drive, I unclipped my left foot, came to a complete stop, and my weight was more distributed to my right than it was to my left. And I tried everything I could to try and get my weight back over to my left, but my right foot was still clipped in, and I went down like a sack of spuds and hit the floor so hard. And ended up with a bit of a bloody knee.
Oh, Jesus. Wow.
Yeah, that was interesting. So I'd been out, rode 30 mile, no problems at all, come to a complete stop after I finished, and yeah, absolutely go down like a sack of spuds, smash my head off the off my next door neighbour's fence, hit my shoulder, my elbow, did my knee, but there we go.
Oh, God.
So that was Saturday. And then on Sunday, I was like, yeah, my leg's no good, so it's going to have to be a ride. So I managed to get out and do 63 mile on the bike, which was good.
Yeah, nice.
And as they say, to get the same benefit as you would from running, you need to do 3 times the mileage on the bike. So by doing 63 mile, that's the equivalent of running 21. So I was quite pleased with that. I actually came over your way and probably did the same route as you and Sam did, because I went up Timberhonger Lane and then went down through Droitwich. And then
we saw, no joke, about 400,000 cyclists along that road. Was it called Crutch Lane?
Race. Yeah, there was a race.
Was it?
I think. Yeah, I think there was a race going on somewhere, because I kept on my way back. I kept on seeing signs for a cycle race happening.
Well, we saw a lot of cyclists that day. That's interesting. We might have seen you.
Yeah, but yeah. So I went down. I went later in the day. I wasn't an early bird like you. Right. I didn't leave my house till 1 o'clock.
Right.
So, but yeah, went down Timberhonger Lane, down through Droitwich, over to Worcester, and then back through like Flyford, Flavel, and all that lot, and back into Redditch.
Wow.
But yeah, that was decent, really good. And then Monday went out for an easy ride. So did 30 mile, so the equivalent of 10 mile running on the bike, which was good. And then, and this is where the magic fingers come into play. On Tuesday, I went to see an Emmett technique practitioner.
What's that mean?
Exactly. So I was thinking about going to see a chiropractor or a osteopath to try and have some treatment done to pull me around and possibly push me back into place and sort my leg out. But I was speaking to my brother-in-law, and his friend went to see this Emmett technique practitioner, and he said he'd been in pain and had all sorts of issues for a long time. He's not a runner, he's just a normal guy, but he was having pain and all sorts for a long time. Went to see him, and after one session, he's great and hasn't got hardly any pain anymore, and it sorted him all out. So he said, here's his business card, check it out. So I looked on the website and went, it's worth a punt. So booked in, and on Tuesday after work, I went down to see him, and I didn't know what to expect. But apparently the Emmett technique was developed by Dr. Emmett, and I think it's Australian. I think he is. But it's all to do with light finger pressure on pressure points around your body. And it was the most bizarre thing ever, because he basically sat me down and chatted through everything and asked me where all my pain and what I do and what it was and all that sort of thing. And then got me to stand up and assessed what he could see, got me to stand in front of the mirror, and then was looking at things, got me to do a couple of squats, got me to sit down and stand up, and he went, yeah, you've got pelvic imbalance. So all of your left hand side is really tight, mostly from your glutes upwards into your torso is all so tight that it's causing problems down your leg. He said, my hernia possibly is the cause of it because I'm compensating and putting everything onto my left. But he said, I am very much dominant on my left side, and that's why all the tightness is there. I'm putting everything into the left. And yeah, so he said, I've got a pelvic imbalance, and that's probably what's causing it. And it's probably my piriformis causing the pains. And then he comes over and he finds the pressure points and puts his one finger on one bit, one finger on another bit, just lightly presses, holds it for about 10 seconds, then moves away, goes over to the other side, finds pressure points, just lightly presses them, and then steps away. And then he did a few all over my legs, and then he got me to sit down again and went, okay, right. Did a couple things, and then went, okay, stand up now. And he went, does that feel any different? And I was like, where's that pain gone from my knee? And all he had done was just touch a couple of places. And I was like, this is weird. And whilst I was stood up and whilst he was doing it, you could feel things releasing and moving around your body, which was bizarre. Wow. And then he got me lay down on the bench, and he was doing like around my back and my shoulders and all my mid back and everything. And I don't know what he did, because there was no pushing and pulling and all like things like a sports massage or like a chiropractor, or
it's the opposite of a Thai massage.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was like the most pressure he put on was like that.
No.
And it's bizarre. But I came out of there and went, okay, this feels different. This feels odd. And then during the next couple of hours, I felt things around my body loosening up that haven't felt loose for a long, long time. Do you know when? When you have a sports massage, I don't know if you have,
Not for a while.
or you do some self massage and something loosens up and it feels a little bit achy.
Yeah.
I had that pretty much all over my body, and all he'd done was like touch bits. It was bizarre, and it carried on. And at the end of the session, I said to him, "So after this, would you suggest a rest day now that I've had this treatment?" And he said, "Treat today as if it was a normal day. So before you had any pain, what would you do on a Tuesday evening?" And I said, "Well, Tuesday's a run night. I would go to training session." He said, "Well, go for a run." And I went, "You sure?" And he was like, "If you don't go for a run and treat it like a normal day, number one, you can't tell whether it's worked. Number two, you won't believe that it's worked." And I was like, "Okay." And he said, "But to get full benefit and for it to fully settle in will take at least 48 hours." And I was like, "Okay,
Right.
cool, fine." Got home, got into all my running kit, went for a run, half the pain of what I had on Saturday.
Wow.
I have no idea how it's worked or what he did, but something has worked.
Wow.
So,
What's his name?
so
What's your
he,
practitioner called?
I think his first name's Rob. So it's
Rob.
Rob, but he does the Emmett technique.
The Emmett technique.
Yeah,
Rob's
and
magic fingers.
yeah, so I managed to go and do 10K at an easy pace, and as I say, half the pain of the Saturday run, which was crazy.
Yeah.
And then went down to the gym, and then did a 30 minutes on a cross trainer, 35 minutes on the bike, and 35 minutes on the cross trainer, and my S&C when I got home because I ran out of time at the gym because I'd been for the run. Yeah, so that was interesting. And then Thursday, so yesterday, I did 31.5 mile on the bike up to my shop, and then did 6.5 mile back. So what's that? 38 mile in total.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I got home from the bike, got my running kit on and went out for a run.
Yeah.
And I'd possibly go as far to say it felt slightly better than Tuesday. Still, so his thing of for it to fully work 48 hours. Yeah, it's I went out for a run. I managed to do 10K, and it's far from pain-free, nowhere
Yeah.
near pain-free at all,
Yeah.
but a lot less pain and a vast improvement from what it was this time
So
last week.
are you going to go see him again? Are you going to go see him regular or?
Well, this is the thing. He actually said, and this is what I found really good about him, was he said most people will come for one session and won't come back because it will have worked. He said some people will come back in a year's time for a repeat, like top up. Some people will come back for extra sessions. But if you have to come to me 3 times and it still doesn't fix, I can't do anything for you. So you need to go and see someone else or get something done. So it's
Wow.
not like he's there to go, yeah, you come weekly and I'll keep on topping you up and I'm just going to keep on taking your money. He's like,
Yeah.
if it works in one session, I'll see you later. If you need another session, okay, we'll do it. But I won't do any more than 3. I can't do
It's
anything
quite
more for you.
quite honest
Yeah,
approach.
which I
Yeah.
thought was really good. So I have actually booked in with him again for next Thursday.
Right.
Because if from my run yesterday, would I be able to run the marathon the way it felt? No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But if I go back and get another treatment and I get the same level of result from it, would I be able to run the marathon? Quite possibly.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. Fingers crossed.
Wow. Well, what a turn up for the books.
Yeah.
Hopefully this time next week you'll be... When is your next session? Thursday, did you say?
Next Thursday, yeah.
Hopefully this time next week you'll be feeling even better.
Yeah, I don't know. It's bizarre.
Could be, yeah.
But as I say, it's nowhere near right yet. I've still got pain and still got like some discomfort and some aching and stuff like that. But I've been for 2 runs, so I'm going to have some aching and discomfort because I haven't run that much for weeks.
Yeah,
So basically last week I managed to do... What did I do on the bike? I managed to ride 160 mile on the bike last week. And I am already 68 mile on the bike this week already. So, but I've now got 12.5 mile in running this week, whereas last week I didn't manage even half of that.
Yeah. Well, that's progress, isn't it? That's good.
So
your peak this block is obviously going to look a lot different than you would have visualized it to look.
Very
because
so.
Where are we now? So we're at the 21st of March.
I'm in week 10 of 15. So I've got on Sunday I've got 5 weeks until London.
Yeah. But you've just got to do what you got to do. You've got to just do everything you can. Now it's become a case of I've just got to get onto that start line.
Yeah.
And I've got to try and get to that finish line rather than, the way that you'd visualized it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, that's promising.
And then, as I said at the start, I've tried to change up my S&C a little bit to start introducing different things. So I tried for the first time because I heard on it was on what's called Paula Radcliffe's marathon podcast. Somebody saying that single leg RDLs are really good for runners, and somebody had mentioned to me as well that I should try single leg RDLs, so single leg Romanian deadlifts. So I tried them out last night, and man, they have targeted my glutes and my hamstrings big time. They really do work for that posterior chain area. So I think I'm going to start keeping those in my S&C.
Yeah. They sound tough. So is that like, what do you have? A couple of like, I don't know, 5 kilos, 10 kilos?
So I did two 10 kilograms. So a 10 kilogram dumbbell in each hand. And then you stand on one leg and raise your other leg behind you whilst you hinge from your hips forward, keeping your back straight.
And is the game to try and keep yourself as stable as possible? Yeah.
And that's
why
it works for like your posterior chain or your glutes and your hamstrings, because you're using all of that on one leg to try and keep your balance whilst you're lowering those weights and coming back up.
Yeah, right. Oh, interesting.
But yeah, good.
Cool. Well, I think we've probably got about, I reckon, should we do until about 1:40? So should we do another 20 minutes?
Okay.
We'll see how many comments and emails we can get through.
Yeah. So do we want to quickly run through comments or emails first? Should we do comments? Because we didn't do them last week, did we?
Yes. Yeah, go for it.
All right, let me just pull them up quickly. So, where did we get to?
Dude, there's something we haven't mentioned. Something massive.
No, I'm leaving that till just before the Strava segment.
Okay, right, yeah.
I haven't forgot. I've got it written down, but I haven't on purpose.
Yeah, I think we're both on the same wavelength. Yeah.
Yes, we are. So did we? Yeah, we got to
Barcelona. Sorry,
we got to the great 772 saying he can confirm the button mushroom on the last comment.
yeah, great comment.
So let's start off with up close running with Ryan. So Ryan Close, and he said 100% would buy a mug if they were for sale. when we were talking
nice
about
one,
Medenko buying a mug. So yeah, awesome. And then Lizzie Bear 800 says, "Me too. I'd buy a mug." So maybe we should do some mugs. I will get on that. That is something I will do. Next up, Gary Manders says, "Parkrun is a race for maybe the first 20. For the rest of us, it's a battle to find space to run and not get tripped up by man, woman, or beast."
Fair enough.
He said, "Here's a challenge for you. Instead of taking the easy option, starting at the front, see if you've got it in you to start last and fight the war getting through the field."
Wow, you'd have to be very, very fast to get through that. Yeah.
But that would be. I would love to try that one week, starting right at the back and seeing how far up the field you could get before the end. That would be a great thing. So
yeah.
You never know, Gary. I might try that one week when my leg actually works. Then next up is Leggett Lee, and he says, "Good morning, gentlemen. I'd go as far as saying the Adios Pro 2s are my favourite ever running shoe." So do you know when we were saying any discontinued shoes that I'd want to bring out? Mine was Pro 2s. They were light and aggressive with an incredibly springy sole. I too feel I retired mine too early and wore them as work trainers. I've never laid patios as quick as I did in those.
Awesome. I'll see you Sunday, Lee. I'll see you at Wolves. Yeah,
amazing. Lee is also running the road relays, but for a new club.
Oh wow, drama.
Yeah. So we'll recap that when the race has happened, so I can reveal that.
Yeah.
Then Nick PK4SQ says, "Thanks for keeping me company on the Kingston 20 miler today. Finished in 2 hours 35 minutes. Come on, lads. Where was the final 25 minutes of content for the last few miles of my race?" He said, "More seriously, I'm thrilled about the time, which was a big PB and hopefully a sign I'm on for target for 3:30 at Manchester. Thanks for spurring me on." Awesome. Great work, Nick.
He's done 2:20 mile and 2:35.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, you could walk this last 6 mile. That's incredible. 2:35, 20 miles. So just 6 miles. I mean, I know they say it's a 20-mile warm up and it's a 10K, but that's promising. That's very encouraging.
It gives him 55 minutes.
Yeah.
For 10K.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So best of luck, Nick. Keep
nice one, Nick.
Keep that going, mate.
It's on, Nick.
Next up is Scott Graham, 4172. And he says, huge PB chaps. Thanks for the shout out.
Yeah, Scott from Borough, from the Borough half. Yeah.
And he said, previous was 1 hour 56 minutes on the same route last year. Berlin half for me next month now with a 146 under my belt. Amazing work, Scott. So he knocked 10 minutes off his PB.
Amazing.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So great work, Scott.
Do you know what that is? Because that happened to me. I couldn't get under 2, and then I ran 145. That is going out too fast and not panicking, because that happened to me. I ran a 145 in Stafford. I don't know, 3 years ago, I think it was. I remember getting to the end and thinking, well, I remember getting to like 5 miles and thinking, right, this is going to, it was good while it lasted. Then I get to 8 miles, then 10 miles. And then I was like, well, there's the 12 mile. Why am I still running this pace? What's going on? And it was all because I had the almost, not bravery, but that I had I went out fast and I didn't panic, if you know what I mean. And I just hung on. So sometimes
you can do that in a half.
Yeah.
But don't try that in a marathon, please, anyone.
No, it's not, doesn't work in all. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a tried and tested method, but it can work.
Oh yeah, a half down in those races that can work, definitely.
Yeah.
Then next we have the great 772 again, who says, "I keep my fingers crossed for you, Brett. Hopefully it won't be too long and you'll be back at it with a vengeance. I had to take 2 weeks off in January because of my hip flexors. I was so annoyed, and to be honest, it was getting me down. My wife knew at the point how important running had become for me. It is my physical and mental release. It's important to refocus and adapt. Take care to you both, and there's plenty of time left in the year. Thank you, man. Yeah, it's, as I said about my mood completely changing just by getting out the door and running. It's crazy how much of a difference being actually able to do this sport. You forget how much you love it until you can't do it. And then when you can't do it, the only thing you want to do is to go and do it. So
yeah, you don't know what you've got until it's gone.
Then Chip Rocket 99 says, great company again for the long run, lads. Just wondering if you have any advice for dialing into marathon pace in your workouts. I'm training for my first marathon and it's going well overall, but I seem to struggle to maintain 7:15 a mile or 4:30 per kilometre, my goal pace. I find myself drifting off and running too slowly, but when I put in a bit of effort, I go too fast and need to slow down again. My most recent half time in this block was 1:28.46, so 6:46 per mile or 4:12 per K. So I don't think my goal pace is too ambitious. Would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's almost well, it's a similar pace to what I run. Having said that, I don't do any marathon pace, so I'm the worst one to ask. I wouldn't force it if it's feeling tough, and race days, but like we say every week, race pace is different. It just feels different after a taper. You're probably in the middle of marathon training at the moment, so it probably just feels harder, and it is harder for that reason.
Yeah.
So don't worry too much. I'd just concentrate on rhythm over rhythm and effort rather than pace.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it too much. And maybe I don't know. I just like the idea of almost like struggling through training, but on race day it all comes together. So just keep plugging away, keep showing up, and
yeah. That's the thing. On race day, in the race pace will feel a lot easier than it does in training. Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good thing if it is feeling too tough to stick to marathon pace and you feel yourself drifting slower, just work off marathon pace effort, because that marathon effort, when you come to race day with it feeling easier, the pace will be there, but you know what the effort needs to be. So focus on the effort. Don't get bogged down by numbers so much, because we're all guilty of it. We focus too much on the data and too much on the numbers, and if we not hitting those numbers that we want, it can get us down and get us feeling like we're not actually capable of doing what we want and what our targets are. But it's actually the effort that you're putting in which benefits you, because if the race pace in training is too hard and you're pushing to get there, you're overexerting yourself and overtraining, and that's possibly not a good thing. So focus on the effort. Does it feel like marathon effort? And then go from there.
And don't underestimate the importance of a steezy Sunday long run or a Saturday long run, whatever you do. Like some days, some weeks I don't even do, well, most weeks I just run steady and easy on my long, because the long run is the important thing, is the time on feet. It's that 2.5 hours of Sunday running, which I find more important than 15 minutes of marathon pace, or 25 minutes at a time or whatever it is of those 5K blocks, or 23 or 22 minutes, whatever it is you're running, because sometimes they can just on your long run, the 5K blocks or the 10K blocks can feel really, really hard. And I don't think there's anything wrong with a steady or an easy Sunday long run. It's way more about showing up than you can ever really consider, you can ever really know. I think if you just keep doing it week in, week out, day in, day out, whatever it is, it will feel easier. Everything you're doing today will make tomorrow easier. Hopefully that's the way to try and think about it. Yeah.
Wicked. Yeah, thank you for that. Then next is Run Like a T-Rex, who says, looking smart, Brett, more aerodynamic.
About your hair,
Yeah.
yeah.
Less wind resistance.
Less drag.
Then next up is Sherry Oram, who is from Canada, and they say hard yes to the merch. So there we go.
We'll have to ship over to Canada.
Yeah. Then Gary Manders says, going into decline is a reality. It isn't pleasant when it happens, but in the end, there is still things to chase. My targets are age grade related now. Not that I was ever a fast runner, but I use age grading now to match or try to beat times I was running 10 years ago. Trying to be a better runner now, approaching 60 years than when I was approaching 50 years, beating age grade percentages, etc. You can't avoid slowing down, but there's still plenty of battles to be won.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Gary, that's so true. That's 100% correct. Yeah. You change your goalposts and move them to a new place, and don't stop having targets and goals to work towards, but they just change slightly. But good.
Yeah.
Then next is, and this was on our episode Brown Eyed Girl, it's from Leggett Lee. And he says, funny story, actually, lads. I was running back. I was running back from my folks in Catsill only today, and I trusted a fart. And I trusted a fart that I shouldn't have. Just over half a mile in on Golden Cross Lane. I was still just over 6 miles from home and decided to just carry on. I had literally dropped my van off at my dad's for him to fix it. My only way home was to run. I took the back lanes and went through the Lickies, then Cofton Park. Thankfully, I made it home, but it wasn't pretty. Thank God it wasn't in an actual race, and I chose to wear my underlayer under my shorts. Could have been a real disaster.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Sounds like damage limitation, Lee. Yeah. Looking forward to hearing this full story on Sunday. The uncensored story.
Amazing. Next up is from Freddie Runs, and he says, thanks for the shout out, lads. I took that shiny new PB and improved a little more this weekend. I've gone from 209 to 202 in the race that he ran, and now 159. It's amazing what can happen when you actually follow a training plan. 42 pounds lost probably helps too. Freddie, I watched your video the other day when you ran that, and it was an awesome video. The fact that you but comments that got to you, you didn't let them get to you too much. You used them as fuel, and you got out there and smashed it.
It's the right way to do it. It's the best way to do it. Show them on the pitch. Yes, that's how you answer your critics, isn't it? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So great work. Yeah, he went out and ran a 1:59 half marathon before parkrun, and then went and run parkrun afterwards.
Yeah, what a hero! Well done, Freddie.
Amazing. Yeah, awesome work, Freddie. Next up is Tom H7R3W, and he says decathlon socks for the win. So his favourites are decathlon socks. I've not tried any decathlon socks, but I will say my running boxers of choice are decathlon ones. They're good. Polyester like running boxers, and they're fantastic.
I've heard good things about Runderwear as well.
Yes, yeah.
But never worn them.
Yeah.
So maybe we should get some for Leggett Lee for Christmas.
Next up is Hember Runner, and then 2:03:22. I've barely been able to contain my excitement. Brilliant! So this is fantastic. So 2:03:22 is a timestamp from our pod from last week, and he said, "I've barely been able to contain my excitement, waiting all week for my shout out at the top of the leaderboard." Awesome. Would like to say thanks to all those 100-mile-per-week runners for taking this one off. Cheers for the pod, lads. Been great to get through the miles each week. That is awesome. That's so good. That people are, the fact that you were so excited to hear your name on the thing, no, that's awesome. And great work for being at the top of the leaderboard. It's not an easy one to do.
What about the week when you forgot to do it? Imagine that. Sorry, guys.
So I'm glad I did actually do that for you. No worries. Awesome, good work. And then Owen Casey, I like this one as well, said, never thought I'd hear a worse Irish accent than Tom Cruise in the movie Far and Away, but Andy might have just topped that.
I think he was talking about the horse jumping over the fence.
Brilliant. Oh, there we go. Next up is Rachel Watson, 2252. And she says, hey guys, thought you would like to know about this young man from New Zealand just did tonight. There we go. Tauranga teenager Sam Ruthe has become the youngest runner to break 4 minutes in the mile with a 3:58 performance at Auckland Mount Smart Stadium. Paced throughout by training partner and two-time Olympian Sam Tanner, Ruthe became the first 15-year-old to duck under the mythical benchmark for the middle distance running, despite wet and cold conditions. Love your podcast to pieces. Keep up the amazing work, you two. Take care. Rachel Watson from New Zealand.
Nice one, Rachel.
Thank you for that, Rachel. But I did spot it this week. I thought it was incredible, so I had to talk about that. But thank you for putting that into our attention.
It wasn't done under race conditions. It was just like a normal Tuesday night at the track sort of thing.
I'm not entirely sure. I'm not sure if it was part of a race, but it's got to have had official timing for it to be classed as a world record. So it must have been part of a race, but I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Right. I'll have to find out about that.
Yeah. Right.
But couple more to go. The great 772 again says, hi guys, I hate it when you generally feel fine, but your legs for some reason just feel heavy and unresponsive. Got a 5k race this Sunday, and the A goal is sub 20 with a B goal to beat my PB of 21:50. Should I just take Saturday off completely with plenty of massage gun, or will a very short jog do? Also, how would you guys approach a PB attempt for a 5k? I'm thinking of ignoring the watch apart from just glancing at the 1k splits. Cheers.
Probably a sensible idea. The 5k one.
Yeah.
You know the splits you've got to hit.
Yeah. What would you do about the Saturday? Would you take it completely off and do lots of massage gun work and stretching, or would you just do a short jog on the Saturday?
Knowing me, I would do I'd do a jog. Yeah,
I'd just go for a shakeout.
Yeah. I always like people. I remember selling someone, I've got a marathon tomorrow, because as marathon runners, we tell anyone and everyone we've got a marathon tomorrow at Parkrun, and they were like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "Well, I thought everyone did that. I thought everyone did a Parkrun the day before marathon, but obviously a lot of people don't." But I just like to do it nice and easy, cut the strides at the end, maybe, and or not. And that's probably what I would do.
I'd go out and do just a nice easy run, just as a shakeout, get the legs moving, ready for that Sunday race. Best of luck with your race. So his PB is 21:50 and his A goal is a sub 20. So it's a big old chunk to take off, 1 minute 50. So go for it. Race as hard as you can, but best of luck. What I will say though is, when I did my 5k PB at the end of last year, I used that priming technique where just before the race did my warm up, but did half a mile at tempo. So was it tempo? No, threshold. Sorry, threshold. So got up to almost race pace to get your heart rate going and get your body used to it. So when you set off at the start of the race, you're not burning all that anaerobic energy that you'll need for the final sprint of the race. So yeah, if you possibly want to do that and try that out, that might work. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
And also, obviously, if you're going for the sub 20, you need your 6:26s and your 3:59s a K.
Yeah.
Average pace is probably more important than lap splits. So if you can just keep glancing at anything, your average pace across the whole thing will arguably be more important than, because sometimes when you see that you've run over 2 or 3 splits in a row, you're trying to do the maths in your head. You think, oh, I've just done a 4:03 and a 4:06 and now 4:09. You think, well, I'm 18 seconds over now. How am I going to get that back? But sometimes it's less intimidating when you can just see that average pace come down when you surge, and So average pace is your friend.
Yeah, but best of luck. Have a great race. Couple more. Anya Todd says, need a run in the red line mug with Mumbai bye on the bottom. Fastest mug in the game.
Genius. Yes.
So yeah, we will have a look at that. And then last one is from D Cook Rees. So rather than just being on the leaderboard or in our email, she's in the comments. So she says, having just done my second ultra last weekend, I am fully on board with ultras being a good thing to do when you're no longer hitting pace PBs. Never say never again, but I don't want to do another one for a good few decades. Also a fan of the Start Fitness freebie More Mile socks, as well as the Hilly Twin Skins for long runs. So, that's hasty. Yeah.
Nice one, D. Well done.
I do agree that, when I start slowing down, I think I am going to start looking longer, but not until I start slowing down. I still want to try and, push that PB as far as I possibly can. Push my body to the limit. Break my body down by trying to go fast. And then once I've done that, I'll break my body by trying to go further.
Yeah. I won't say what it is, what I want to do, but I want to do something massive this summer. I want to do something big. And I've got an idea what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to say it out loud because I don't want to commit to something I'm not going to do. But this summer I'm going to have a go at something ultra-ish. And I'm going. It's going to be something bigger than I've ever done before. But before we go, on the subject of the Kingdom of Northumberland, we asked Kayleigh to email us and let us know how she'd got on, and she has. She sent us an email. So for everyone else that has emailed that haven't read out, we will start with you next week. But just to come back to what we talked about last week, which was, I think, the race that Dee just mentioned. They raced together. Yeah. So this is from Kayleigh, from those two runners. And she said, hi, Andy and Brett. Hope you're both well. Andy, the Leeds build seems to be going well. And Brett, I hope that your body starts cooperating soon. There's nothing more frustrating than being injured when you've got a goal in sight. But I know that you'll come back stronger than ever. Thank you to you both for the kind shout out on last podcast. So sorry that I'm late to send the email. It's been a crazy week. The ultra went as well as it could. Thank you. I stayed near the start line the evening before, slept well, and felt super confident going into the race. After 15 weeks of dedicated training, however, I couldn't have predicted the tropical weather that we had on the day. I started in fog, and 8 miles in, it was heat, humidity, and glorious sunshine. My body held up amazingly well, and I didn't really start to tire until about 30 miles. My stomach was a different story. From about 10 miles in, I kept getting waves of nausea, which I'd never had before in training. It made it super hard to get my fuel in, but I just kept trying to eat and drink what I could. I put it down to the unseasonably warm weather change. Determined from the off that I wouldn't quit, it wouldn't have stopped me. The route was glorious. I spoke to loads of amazing people and had an incredible day. I was aiming for about 7 hours, 15 minutes. And I came in at 6 hours 55, so I was over the moon.
Look at that. Amazing.
I was 213th out of 392, 25th out of 43 in age cat, but at 39, I'm an old senior. That's same as me. And at 56th female of 148, not a bad day at the office for your first crack at ultra running. I was so excited to eat all the food like I was promised I could. But I came home, Chris made me a curry, and unfortunately, it only stayed in my stomach for about 15 minutes.
Oh
Great.
no! Oh,
But you'll be pleased to know that it's a sick emoji,
Yeah.
not a Leggett Lee emoji. Don't worry, I made it. I'm more than made up for it when I finally got my appetite back 3 days later. Lots of learning, a few more fueling nerves for the Amsterdam block, but overall, I'm so proud of myself. I'm also really glad that I don't have to run 20 plus miles again on a Sunday for a while. The podcast kept me entertained throughout my long runs in the race. Keep up the good work, both. I look forward to it every week. Thanks again, and good luck with training. Kayleigh.
Amazing. You should be proud of yourself, Kayleigh. That's incredible. Great work.
Absolutely amazing. What an incredible, sounds like a great end to a wonderful, portion of her life. Training for a marathon is like a chapter in a book, isn't it? It's like a definable chapter that you can remember, and you sort of seem to progress and you feel like sometimes it's not going well, and you think you start to regress. And then, by the way, when race day comes along, you've got all that anticipation and all the nerves, and then you go and outperform what you thought you were ever capable of, and it all seems worth it. Just like what John Kelly was saying, was it worth it? Yes. Did I give it my best? Yes. That's all you need to know. The only two questions you ever need to know to answer. So amazingly well done, Kayleigh. And that's incredible. So really well done.
Awesome. Amazing work. And just before we go into the Strava segment, we just need to talk about something that happened on Sunday, and it is incredible. And it is Will Fu and the Masters of the Wuniverse. And he went over to Barcelona and absolutely smashed it, ran the race of his life, and he is on his 7th attempt got his sub-3 marathon with a 2:59:50.
Wow.
Incredible work.
10 seconds.
Yeah, and he negative split by 10 seconds as well. He went through halfway in exactly 1:30 and negative split by 10 seconds. That's the dream. It's incredible. What a race. What a run.
Mate, we are so thrilled for you. You must be absolutely over. You can retire now. You can retire from running for life if you want.
What I am looking forward to, though, is he's releasing the video tomorrow. And
yes,
I cannot wait to watch it. It's going to be epic.
At the time of hearing this, it might have already come out. So if you haven't seen it, type in The Woo, W-U, on YouTube. Go and watch the best marathon video that's ever been made. I haven't even seen it yet. It's not even been made, and I know it's going to be brilliant. So it's just going to be amazing. And just so happy for you, mate, because we know what it means to you and all the work that you've put in, all the sacrifices you've made. And what a bloke, what a guy, what a runner he is.
Yeah.
So
incredible.
Congratulations, mate. Yeah.
I can remember back to Manchester 23 and the emotions I went through after breaking that 3-hour barrier. I know exactly what he's feeling, but after 7 attempts to get there, it's incredible, mate. Incredible.
There's the proof. Do you get faster as you get older? Yes, you do. You just keep going. Yeah. You just keep trying to smash through that barrier, and eventually you will.
Yeah.
If at first you don't succeed, try again. Yeah.
Amazing. But we are trying, and hopefully he will be available, but we will be trying to get him on the pod again.
And speaking to his people.
Yeah, we will hear all about it and find out exactly what went down. So fingers crossed next week.
So
we'll have a special guest.
So for any of you who are looking to run a sub-3 this spring, go and check out Will's socials if you don't already.
Yes,
So the Woo,
definitely.
and when we get him on the podcast, it will be like having royalty on.
Yeah, 100%.
YouTube royalty. Yeah.
So, just last thing we need to do before we go is the Strava segment. So, our Strava leaderboard from last week. In first place for distance is Nathan Hampson. Awesome work, mate. You have topped the leaderboard with 83.8 miles. Second place is Ryan Baker, with 80.9 miles. And third is Matt Hember with 80.3 miles. Our climbing top three. First was Dave Napier with 5,092 foot.
Nice one, Dave.
Second was Jordan Knapp with 4,491 foot. And third was Matt Hember with 4,488 foot. So
incredible.
Awesome work from all three. And then I was saying to you earlier, weren't I? The ladies' Strava leaderboard from last week was super tight at the top. So our leader for last week was Leanne Byard with 52.5 miles. Second was Victoria Lee with 51.8 miles, so only 0.7 of a mile behind. And then third was D. Cook Rees with 51.7 miles, so only 0.1 behind Victoria. Super, super tight at the top, but amazing work from all three of you. And then, if I remember rightly, fourth place for the ladies, was Liz Brown with 50.8 miles, so only 0.9 of a mile behind D.
Wow.
So, amazing work. But there we go. That is our 1.5 hour podcast, which is finishing at 1 hour 56.
Can we just do a short one tonight, Brex? I've got a dodgy head. I need to go to bed early. Can we just do an hour? It's just normal length. Just normal. So even when we try, it's the same length. How do we literally, I've got about 8 things written down. How do we make 2 hours of content out of that? I genuinely don't know. And the pre-podcast that we spend an hour chatting for. It's 10 o'clock at night. How has this happened?
But there we go. Anyway, sorry, mate. I haven't even mentioned me race. I've got race on Sunday. Oh yeah,
talk about that.
Go on.
Spend half an hour on that.
Tell us where you're racing.
So I'm doing the Wolverhampton 10K. I don't know why I entered it really. I hate 10Ks and literally don't know why I'm doing it. My sister lives in Wolverhampton. Maybe that's why. Mm-hmm. But she's just texted me saying I'm not coming. So brilliant. That's good. I'm meeting her for breakfast afterwards. Brilliant. So thank you. Cheers, Gerald. Nice one. Don't worry about it. And so Laura's going to come down as well. She's going to come and watch. And it starts and finishes from the Molineux, which is, for those of you that don't know, which is Wolverhampton Wanderers Stadium. So that's going to be quite an interesting start and finish. Apparently, it's fairly flat. If anything, it's negative for the first 5K and then back uphill for the final 5K. But I don't think it's that bad. So I'll be honest. I'm at the point now where I literally don't care how I run this on Sunday. I don't know how I'll feel. I don't know if I'll feel well. I don't know if I'll feel top of the world, or I don't know. But I'm tempted, to just kamikaze it. I know that word has become a bit of a buzzword in the running community lately, but I'm just tempted to go really hard for the first 5K and then just see what happens. Second half.
Then the second half of the 5K, second 5K, your vertigo will kick in and you'll have to do it like this, like you're balancing on a tightrope.
Yeah. So, I don't know what's going to happen second half, but I'm thinking of just throwing the rule book out the window and just going, I don't care. I'm just going to go out hard and see what happens.
Nice.
But I don't know how I'll feel on the start line. But if I do feel good, then yes, I will go for it. But if I don't feel good, then I will still go for it.
It's the only way, isn't it? It's the only way.
Yeah,
it's the only way.
But Leggett Lee said he's going to be there. Well, I think he signed up to do it. I don't know if he's actually going to race it or not. The Quineys will be there, so it'd be good to see them. I think Ryan is the only one out of the queues doing it. So it'd be good to see Ryan, and I've seen a few others that will be doing it. So yeah, come and say hello, and I will obviously say hello back. Say you. Yeah, I will definitely say hello.
I'm gonna say hello,
to you.
and I might say hello as well.
Come and say hello, and I'll
just ignore you and carry on walking.
In fact, don't come anywhere if you see me. Don't come anywhere near me. Don't even think about coming to say hello.
Yeah. And on that, we shall leave it there. So thank you so much for watching or listening this week, and we will see you next week. Cheers, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I've got to go watch this Tom Cruise film now.